What's good, YouTube? It's your boy LB Dino. I appreciate you checking out the vid. Hope you enjoy it. John Stewart schools Hillary on military-industrial complex. Let's get into it.
Crystal, what are you taking a look at?
So Jon Stewart recently hosted two former secretaries of state on his podcast, one Hillary Rodham Clinton and Condoleezza Rice. It was an extraordinary conversation in a whole lot of ways because you had two leading representatives of the blob foreign policy consensus, one Democrat and one Republican, put on the spot to explain the U.S.'s disastrous foreign policy record in recent years. Now, if you listen to the entire thing, you will get to hear Condoleezza Rice defending our war in Iraq by claiming unbelievably that the U.S. government really thought there were weapons of mass destruction and they just couldn't stand to leave a dictator like Saddam Hussein in power.
Big cap.
Such great humanitarians in the Bush administration, you know. You will hear Hillary Clinton downplaying our actions in Libya to take out Gaddafi, portraying our role as simply supporting local actors, including the Arab League, shirking responsibility for the aftermath. You'll also hear a consistent drumbeat from both of them, trying to deflect from the disastrous interventions which cost hundreds of thousands of lives and trillions of dollars and spread.
Oh, what's a couple 100,000 lies?
Propaganda,
We got
the lies.
what the hell did we get, nigga?
Stunning. Now, they're telling the U.S. is a good actor in the world, intervening for benevolent humanitarian reasons, and should be held blameless for all of our many mistakes. These mistakes are treated by the two as little oopsies.
Oopsie.
Than the catastrophic
My bad.
failures that they actually were.
Small ting.
But I thought I would share
Just a couple hundred deaths, 100,000 deaths.
Jon Stewart explains the military-industrial complex to Hillary Clinton. Take a listen.
This is gonna be good.
The actions of America led to a more unstable and globalized situation.
Facts.
Has inflamed populism in this country, inflamed it in Europe, and I'll explain what I mean. You talked earlier about the buckets: defense, development, and diplomacy. Our priorities as a country since World War II have really, all the conversations that you're talking about, but there's also this other sort of, as Eisenhower warned, military-industrial complex.
Talk to him.
It kind of has a mind on its own, and I'll give you the example. State Department budget is what, $50 billion?
A little bit more.
A little bit more,
Right.
but
Not
around there.
not big enough.
USAID,
Yeah.
not big enough. Lockheed Martin got 70-some billion dollars just.
Nigga said not big enough, bro. What the bro? Niggas is cracking, cackling, ghouls.
By itself. And if you think about a budget as a set of priorities, if we're giving one defense contractor, we sell arms to over 100 countries. We sell arms to countries we sanction. There are conflicts.
That's crazy. You heard what this nigga just said? We sell arms, weapons to niggas that we sanction. Niggas that we starving, trying to, like, bro. Sanction is like means you stopping them from getting like products and shit, like food and like what you call that shit? Medical supplies and shit like that. So you telling me we won't let them get their medical supplies or food, but we'll get them guns though, bro. That if that's not some sick ish to you, bro, I don't know what is, bro. That's sick, bro. That's some sick ish.
Both sides are using U.S. armaments, Turkey and the Syrian Kurds. Is our inability to control that aspect of our society sowing the seeds for the instability that we see around the world?
Yes.
Leading to this more populist, illiberal pendulum swing. And how do we rein that in?
That's crazy.
Great points there about the military-industrial
complex. That's really crazy, bro.
Have the actions of America actually created more instability?
I'm sure they said no.
Actually, pretty simple question. But what he's really asking is, with all your concern about democracy, are you, Hillary Clinton, and your ideological ilk, are you the real threat to democracy? Let's hear how she responds.
I understand the question, and I do think it's worth
I hope you do.
And I'll get to that in a minute. But
Sure.
I think it is historically inaccurate to say that our defense budget or our arms sale has promoted the authoritarian impulses in Viktor
Authoritarian.
Orban, who was a NATO ally,
Right.
to Vladimir Putin, to Xi Jinping. I don't see the correlation there.
She doesn't see the correlation there. Behold the propaganda at work. First, Hillary chooses just 3 examples, Orban, Xi, and Putin, as if they comprise the entire world. Then she claims we obviously have nothing to do with the rise of these autocrats in these 3 countries. Even though, just with this tiny subset of nations, her analysis is already preposterous. Just consider Putin and Russia as one example, where first of all, we were instrumental in triggering the downfall of the Soviet Union. We were center stage in constructing their post-Soviet system of oligarchy and imposing economic shock doctrine so that our capitalists could exploit the profit opportunity. And we pursued policies like NATO expansion after the end of the Cold War, which predictably led to that nation feeling they were under threat from the West. Let me give my standard disclaimer. None of this is a justification for their invasion of Ukraine. But to pretend like we had absolutely nothing to do with the current domestic political situation in Russia is, to borrow a phrase from HRC herself, historically inaccurate. There's more, because Jon Stewart is not ready to let her off the hook just yet.
Let me draw it then maybe a little bit more specifically. And this is all, and again, this is not to relitigate, honestly. What happened in Libya, we take out an authoritarian leader through a military action, but we don't have the civic institutions that you talk about to back that up, and it creates instability. Or what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. There's a chaos that is born of that, right?
How can you defend this shit, bro?
35 million displaced individuals who migrate towards Europe. Europe feels the heat of what they consider this other that's coming to their borders. It creates the impetus for more populist, more illiberal, more authoritarian impulses to then gain traction democratically. Those are direct results of American military intervention.
So Stewart's argument here, pretty clear. These wars and interventions triggered humanitarian disasters and floods of refugees, which were not only catastrophic, obviously, for those countries and those human beings, but also helped to create political
How's she gonna wiggle out of this?
The world, and that this instability resulted in the rise of far-right anti-democratic parties. Here, Jon Stewart is actually offering up an explanation that Hillary Clinton herself agrees with. We know this because she has, in a different context, made almost exactly the same argument, just without connecting the refugees flows directly to U.S. actions. Here, for example, is HRC in 2018 arguing that refugees are fueling illiberal right-wing parties and suggesting that European leaders crack down on migrant flows in an attempt to maintain neoliberal political power. She told The Guardian, quote, I admire the very generous and compassionate approaches that were taken particularly by leaders like Angela Merkel, but I think it is fair to say Europe has done its part and must send a very clear message. We are not going to be able to continue to provide refugees and support because if we don't deal with the migration issue, it will continue to roil the body politic. So he's got her checkmated here based on her own statements, driven by the military-industrial.
But of course, she's gonna wriggle out of it.
Refugees fed political instability and illiberalism. So will she admit maybe he's got a point?
Hell no.
It's very hard to lump even the examples you just put together into sort of one bucket and say that then caused dislocation. That dislocation meant refugees to the shores of Europe, and that, because remember, Angela Merkel took 1 million Syrian refugees. The United States had nothing to do with Bashar al-Assad joining forces with Russia and Iran to suppress legitimate dissent. She took 1 million refugees, and Germany did not turn into Hungary. But
Germany feels that pressure, and you see those right-wing parties start to.
Not really.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's minor league compared to
Certainly compared to Hungary. Yeah, compared to that.
And
because of strong institutions.
Orban didn't take any refugees. I mean, he built the walls, kept them out. He didn't take any refugees. He used the issue not to solve a problem, but to consolidate power for himself.
Right.
And so I think that there are lessons always to be learned from any.
This nigga, yo, bro. And he's keeping calm, and he knows she's full of shit. He knows it, but he don't want to. Now saying go too hard, cause then he won't get them niggas to come back on there, son. He's smart. He's showing the hypocrisy. He's exposing the hypocrisy for people who's not like these niggas. He's exposing it. You know what I'm saying? So it makes them look dumb, even though he not trying to cook them too bad. Like I
Woe
like
on
it.
us
I
if we
fucks
don't
with it.
learn the lesson.
Woe on us if we don't learn the lessons, but apparently, per HRC, there are no lessons to learn, at least.
Dumbass.
Ultimately, her response here boils down to, well, it's complicated, so let's just pretend our policies had absolutely nothing to do with it. Now, both of these women were part of catastrophic foreign policy mistakes. Neither one appears to have learned a single thing.
Of course not.
Their ideology still dominates Washington. It's the ideology that lamented our withdrawal from Afghanistan as a tragedy for women, but remained silent as we starved them of their own money. The ideology that ignored our complicity in genocide in Yemen.
You understand what she just said? You understand what she just said? Niggas was talking about we shouldn't get out of Afghanistan because of all of the women's rights and all of this. And now we got sanctions on Iraq. Wait, no. Afghanistan, pardon me. We got sanctions on Afghanistan that won't allow them niggas to get none of their money, their own money, because we afraid of the Taliban getting it. How dumb can you really be, bro? Like, it's in plain sight that you really don't give a shit, bro. Like, bro, come on, son.
Because it was being done by our buddies, the Saudis. The ideology that is pushing for full regime change in Russia and goes into complete meltdown if you even suggest the mere possibility of diplomacy to try to end the Ukraine war. Listen carefully to their words, because they may not have their positions of authority anymore, but their disastrous views still hold a lot of power. Sabra, the level of dissembling here. Hey guys, ready or not?
Sad state that we live in, bro. We need the youth to rise up with a next party, third party, fourth party, whatever, nigga. Y'all need to come together and get these old niggas up out of here, bro. Get their ideology up out of here. Get them up out of here, bro. Or else we gonna be doing this dance forever until we're destroyed, bro. That's how it's gonna go. Anyway, that's the end of this reaction. Church.